Good evening, guys. Welcome to the latest live video. Today, we're going to be going into strength and conditioning, and specifically, what exercises should you do as a youth footballer, and what exercises should you avoid as a youth footballer. So, we'll just give it 30 seconds just to make sure the live is all good, and we'll get straight into it. So, I hope you've had a good week so far. And if you're watching live, then just let me know that you can hear me okay, the sound is okay, and that you can see the exercises presentation. So we will give that a moment. So just before we go into it, I will go into what this live is going to be going into. So we're going to be talking about the golden age to start exercise, 5 essential exercises that you need to do as a football player. Should you train during growth spurts, a very common one and one that every child has to go through. Is cardio good for football players? And a bonus one at the end. Stay here until the end of the live or video for the bonus, which is Osgood-Schlatter disease. I always struggle saying that one. Osgood-Schlatter disease, which affects a lot of young players. And I will give you a couple of things that might help you manage and mitigate that disease. So what is the golden age to start strength training? The easiest answer is that there isn't. It's as soon as you start crawling, that's when you're doing strength and conditioning. So many people think when they hear the term strength and conditioning, they automatically think that they have to have a barbell on their back. They have to be doing really explosive, fancy Olympic lifts. But strength and conditioning is as simple as squatting, a push-up, a plank, or crawling, as demonstrated in the image. So it doesn't have to be complex. It can be from as basic as motor learning, walking, and making your body fitter, faster, stronger, more robust, and also to increase performance. So we do strength and conditioning for 2 reasons: to increase performance and to reduce the risk of injury. Those are the 2 big ones. We get benefits alongside that. So in our daily lives, we'll be able to move better. Our bones will be stronger. Our joints will be stronger. It releases endorphins. It makes us feel good, and it improves our mental health. So don't just look at strength training as a way to improve your performance or reduce your injury risk. You're actually doing all of these other things alongside of it as well. And I can back that as a master in strength and conditioning with experience in Premier League academies, and having seen it live in the flesh, having done my own gym program for over 10 years now. I know that it works with consistency. It doesn't have to be heavy weights. You won't be starting with heavy weights to start. Just start with your body weight. I'll do my best to keep an eye on the chat as well. If you've got any questions, put them in the chat and I'll do my best to answer them live as we go along. So I'll just keep the chat box open here. So and also, if you're not watching this live, feel free to leave a comment in the YouTube comments below or whichever platform you're watching, and I will reply to them. So here are 5 essential exercises to master before you start thinking about the weights and the heavy stuff. So number 1 is your body weight squat. Now this is a staple exercise in strength and conditioning. Excellent for leg strength, hip mobility, and core trunk stability. So you're going to be using a triple extension or a triple flexion in the ankles, the hips, and the knees. These are basically what your body is going to use to transfer force and weight when you're playing football. These are the main three big ones. If we can get these moving smoothly and strong in our squat, then we'll be able to transfer forces much more efficiently and maximally on the pitch. You might think, well, I'm not going to be squatting in a football match, but if you think about when you're landing from a jump, you're going to be going into a squat position. When you land from a jump, the amount of force that goes through your body is between, it's a rough estimation, between 3 and 11 times your body weight will be going through your body when you land just from a jump. So it's important that when we train, we're training for the right reasons. We're training to absorb force, absorb shock externally through our bodies. So we don't just do it for the sake of, I want to lift heavy, but we're doing it for an outcome, a reason. The second one is a push-up. This is good for building your upper and core control. One way that people do not know how to do is a push-up properly. It's very important that you get the form. We'll go back to the form of a squat actually as well in a second. The form of a push-up, you should not flare your elbows. I will do some videos and demos on this, but you shouldn't flare your elbows as you wouldn't when you're doing a barbell bench press or a dumbbell bench press. You want your elbows going towards your chest and to protect your shoulders as well at the bottom of the lift. So I tend to use dumbbells as grips on the floor, as this will help protect your wrists when you're in that prone position. And I find that engages your chest a lot more by having the dumbbells instead of having flat wrists. Your wrists aren't designed to go up. So the dumbbells is a more natural position for your wrists. Number 3, we've got the lunge. So similar to bodyweight squat in terms of the areas of the body that we're targeting. But this time we're not going with a bilateral lift. We're going with a unilateral lift, which means we're working one side at a time. And this is important for football because a lot of the time we're going to be working with one leg at a time. So this is very important for how we output power. Unilateral power is very important. So when we're shooting, landing, jumping, twisting, turning, actions on and off the ball, our unilateral work is really important. Number 4, we've got the glute bridge. So this is one of our hinge exercises, as you call it. So this, you're going to hear me talk about the posterior chain a little bit today. The posterior chain is the muscles on the back of the body. If you think of the word post, it means after. So the muscles at the back of our body, after is like in the past is behind us. So the parts of the body that make up the hamstrings, the back, the calves, the glutes. These are really important when we're decelerating. So think of a car. If you're going forward, use the accelerator. Your accelerators, your quads, and the muscles at the front of your body to go forward. When we're decelerating, hamstrings are predominant, glutes are engaged as well. So this also helps us stand up straight. It gives us our posture, and having a strong posterior chain is really, really important for your day-to-day lives. So this will reduce the likeliness of backache as well if you have a strong posterior chain and a strong core, and it will allow you to progress in your other lifts a lot more quickly as well. Lastly, we have inverted rows or pull-ups. This is again good for building that upper body strength, essential for your back development. So takeaways from this: these are very easy exercises. Well, easy in terms of technical movements. It doesn't require too much expertise. Things you can do at home. Obviously, make sure you're doing it safely. If you're going to try these at home, that you've got the right apparatus set up, that you're not just trying to hang off any old windowsill, and that you've got the right preparation needed to do these. So, what is speed in football? We often think about speed as how fast can you run, but do you ever have those players that you play against, and no matter how fast you think you are, or how much faster you think you are than them, they will always get to the ball first before you. And these are the types of players that are what we call football fast. So they might not be fast in a straight line in your 100-meter sprint, but they're football fast. They've got really good change of direction, reactions. They can transfer weight really quickly from one leg to another, and they can twist and turn really efficiently. And this is what you want, that game-specific movement. There's not many opportunities or times in a game where it's required that you're going to be doing even a 60-yard sprint in a straight line. It's very rare. It might happen on a counter-attack. But even then, you might have to jump. You might have to do a cut. You might have a change of direction in there. It's very rare that you're going to be going in a straight line. And even so, if you are, if you're watching this live, give me a number in the chat. How many times in a game do you think you will reach your top speed on average, roughly? The amount of times in a 90-minute match, we'll go for an adult game, that you would reach your top speed. This surprises a lot of people. I'll give it another moment. If we don't get any answers, then I'll give it away. No? Okay, so it's usually no more than 3, which might surprise a lot of people. You might think, well, I feel like I run really fast in my games. You might be going fast, but you're not hitting your top speed, your absolute top speed, any more times than 3 times in a game. If you're doing that more than 3 times in a game, then positionally you might not be in the best space. So let's think about what the demands of football are when you're trying to work about what I'm trying to achieve and what my outcomes are. I want deceleration. I want to test my change of direction. I want to test my reactions and decision making. So deceleration, that posterior chain, change of direction, transfer of weight, unilateral work, and then reaction, decision making. A lot of this will be done in small-sided games. So we'll be talking about small-sided games a little bit shortly. So is it dangerous for pro-style exercises to be done in growing bodies? So is it safe for a teenager to be doing exercises that are done by pros? Well, let's identify some of the exercises that are done and some of the exercises that shouldn't be done as well. So the first one that I would say stick away from is your 1 rep maxes. Now, this is something that you need to be a rep range that you need to work in for football players. The demands of football, we're not working to absolute strength. There's not many moments in a game where we need our absolute highest strength. This is called our absolute strength, the most strength that we can output. And this is what we need in a 1 rep max. Instead, the rep range that you want to work with is generally between 3 and 12, depending on what your rep range is. So between about 3 and 6, 3 to 8, you're working on strength. 3 to 6 really. Then 6 to about 8 to 10 is your hypertrophy, muscular hypertrophy, so making the muscles bigger. And then about 8 to 10 plus is going to be your muscular endurance. So whichever is your goal, you should always be working towards failure of the last 1 to 2 reps. If you're not failing at your last 1 to 2 reps, increase the weight, reduce the rest time, or increase the weight, reduce the rest time. And the last one will come back to me in a second. Having a mind blank, but that's how you would progressively overload your training load, or increase the sets of reps. So when we're prescribing training, avoid the 1 rep maxes. What can we be doing for power and speed is our plyometrics. So plyometrics would be more for speed. Our power exercises would include a little bit more weight and a transfer of weight. our high impact exercises. So how we land from high, from heights, off one leg, off of two leg. Can we absorb the force using our bodies? So talking about that impact earlier on, your bodies could be experiencing 3 to 11 times body weight through your body, just from a landing. So practicing this in the gym, really important and useful, but make sure you're doing it with a professional, either professional coach or a professional program. Don't just be doing it, ad hoc, out of nowhere when you remember, because that's not the way to do strength and conditioning. So what is bad conditioning for our bodies? So old school methods of training or punishments are slowly going out of the window. Your punishment laps are slowly being ironed out of the game, and your bear crawl races, if you like, these types of forfeits and exercises, it's not really exercises, but methods of training and punishment are not useful. They increase injury risk. There's no skill transfer, and it damages your mindset as well. If you're putting more physical load into your players as a way of punishing them. You shouldn't be punishing your players. You should be teaching them and making them learn for the next time. So this is bad conditioning if you're getting told to go for laps still, as a form of punishment. This just makes you more fatigued, and it makes you more prone to make more mistakes. So if you're a coach that still does this, maybe have a look at using some other methods. I can do a video on this, on some of the ways that you can get players to rethink their ideas if you don't like what they're currently doing. So we're going to go into some frequently answered questions on the internet, online, and generally in the space. So the first one here is, does lifting weights stunt growth? This is such a commonly asked question, and it's quite misperceived as well. No, it doesn't. It's quite outdated to think that lifting a weight would stunt your growth. There's no scientific evidence to show that at all. In fact, the evidence that it does show is that it increases your bone density, and it makes you stronger. So if you are going through that in-between phase where you're starting to go to the gym, but you're also worried about your stunting your growth, it's completely safe. It might be uncomfortable at times when we talk about the next slide, or I think it's 1 or 2 slides. Should I do it while a growth spurt is happening? That's another question, but it does not stunt your growth. So the real danger comes from poor training, poor technique, and ego lifting for the sake of it. We shouldn't be ego lifting at all, especially for football. So remember that rep range, no more than a 3 rep max. And I can go into more detail and depth in another video or live. So yes, the answer to that is no. Lifting weights does not stunt your growth. Next frequently asked question is, my kid is clumsy during a growth spurt. Should they stop training? No, they should not. The clumsy phase is happening. It happens for everyone. You're just trying to rewire your brain to play and train the same game, but just with different tools. You might be slightly longer in your lower half. All of a sudden, your body will just take time to get used to that. The more you play, the more you will get used to that, and the more that your body and your brain will adapt to its new tools. So hiding away from it will just negate and have a negative effect on gameplay and development. So Don't look at it as a negative. Look at it as a challenge or something new to deal with. Try and avoid heavy loading while you're going through a growth spurt, and reduce maximal strength training. Not that you should be doing maximum strength training as a football player and as a youth football player anyway. And high intensity activities, obviously, as well, temporarily. Try and manage your load. And yeah, so just to summarize that, your brain and your body disconnects temporarily. It's just catching up with one another. So there's just a slight misalignment with one another, but it's not the end of the world. You can still play. Next question is, should youth players do cardio or distance running for football fitness? Now, I really like this question, and it's got a lot better over the last 5 or 10 years in terms of understanding what I need to be doing, but it's still got some sort of misperception. If you're going for 45-minute runs expecting to improve your how long you last in a football match, then it's not going to work, because there's no football match that you're running for 45 minutes in a straight line or a windy line, windy road, whatever, steady state exercise as we call it. There's so many stoppages. There's changes of intensities, twists, turns, stop starts, whatever it may be. There's varied intensities, so we call that high intensity interval training, in terms of the stop start and the range of intensity. So think about what the demands of football are again, as we did earlier, and trying to replicate that with the training. So you might go for a 30-second sprint with a 15-second recovery. You might do 3 minutes on, 1 minute off, or 1 minute at lower intensity on a treadmill. Something that you can increase and decrease the intensity rapidly is much more useful for football than steady state long distance running. If you like long distance running, then by all means do it, but don't do it expecting it to help you last in a football match. So our last bonus tip, or our last part of this live, is to do with Osgood-Schlatter disease. Now, a lot of kids have this without even realizing. So if you do have aches and pains around your knee, your patella tendon especially, and the top of the shin, maybe go and get it checked out. It could be this. It's very common. It's nothing to worry about. It's just a long-term problem that you need to manage for young players. So ways that you can deal with this is through RICE, so rest, ice, compression, and elevation to alleviate pain. You can do soft tissue work, flexibility. This can again help alleviate that initial pain. Try and use ice for no longer than 10 to 20 minutes, and try and use a tea towel just so it doesn't damage your skin if you're going to do that. Address the mechanics and load, so strengthen the chain, what we talked about earlier on, our posterior chain. So we think about where Osgood-Schlatter disease is. It's at the front of our body. So what will happen is when an area is really weak, another area will try and compensate by activating and being stronger. So make sure that you've got really strong hamstrings, glutes, your back, and that you're not I try to use the seesaw analogy. So if one area is really strong, another area might not be as strong. So we want it to be leveled, and we don't want muscular imbalances, because muscular imbalances eventually lead to injuries, and they also do affect performance as well. So if you've got a really strong left-sided leg and a really weak right-sided leg, then if you think about when you're planting your foot to land before you take a strike at the ball, that's going to be affected both ways. When landing, it's going to be affected. So think about having a balanced body. That's the best way to avoid these injuries through muscular imbalance. Focus on pain-free movement, not complete inactivity, and gradual progression is crucial for your long-term athletic development. So just going back to what Osgood-Schlatter disease is, it's an overuse injury, commonly associated with growth spurts. So we talked a little bit about growth spurts before. The patellar tendon pulls up on the growth plate at the top of the shin bone, causing inflammation and pain below the kneecap. So if you've got anything that sounds like that, then it's best to go see a doctor or a specialist about it. I don't believe we've got any questions yet. So if you've got any questions about any of the slides today, then do put them in the chat. If you're watching this after the live, again, put them in the comment section below of whatever platform you're watching on. So otherwise, I hope you found this live or video useful. These are quite quite enjoyable to make and to produce in live. So I'm finding them good. So I'm going to continue doing them for the time being. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. We do lives every Thursday, 7 p.m. GMT, and I upload daily videos to YouTube and Shorts, as well as to Instagram, TikTok, and other platforms. So we do a different topic each week. This week was strength and conditioning. Next week, I believe it might be our mindset week, which we do a Google call. Excuse me. It's a little bit late over here. Which we do a Google Meet, so it's a bit more, interactive. You can ask more questions, and then the week after that we do nutrition, and then the week after that we have a tactics and analysis week. So those are the 4 areas that we do, and those are the 4 areas that are in line with the FA 4 corner model. So if you're looking to improve your game, at no extra cost, for just 45 minutes, so today's session was only half an hour, for only half an hour a week, join these lives. There's no commitment needed. All it is just a little bit of your time and attention. Feel free to share that these lives are taking place. The more people that we can affect and impact, the better. Subscribe if you're new. If not, I'll see you next week, same time, 7 p.m. And I hope you have a good rest of your week. Oh, before we go, actually, last slide. I missed out a slide, but we can do that now. I'll add that into the video. So before we wrap up, can my 12-year-old use the same gym program as a Premier League pro? No, because what a pro needs is completely different to what a 12-year-old football player needs. So think about the difference of maturity and experience of the body. So biologically, a pro needs to, do high volume and intensity work on unilateral exercises built for high level performance and recovery. They can perform a lot faster, a lot more safely. Whereas a 12-year-old, you just need to do the basics. Think about those 5 exercises at the start, get really good at those, and then you can start thinking about adding weight slowly and slowly. But you do not need to be copying a Premier League player's gym program at all. It's not safe, it's not clever strength conditioning, and it's not necessary. So before we actually wrap up, we have 2 days left of our early bird spaces to St George's Park, our elite and educational training experience, which is taking place on Thursday, the 2nd of April. You can click the link in the bio or visit our website, www.gofootball.com, to find out more information and book your space. This is a high a highly limited available trip. And, you know, last year we went and it was fantastic. We're doing even more this year. We've got hydrotherapy, we've got pitch-based sessions, gym-based sessions, nutrition workshops, mindset workshops. So everything that we've talked about today. Last week, we're doing live at St George's Park at England's training ground, the same training ground which they will be going to before they head off to the World Cup in the summer. So we've got some videos on that on the channel, so have a look at what we did there. If not, go onto the England channel and have a look and see where you'll be training if you'd like to join us. You can come from anywhere in the world. In terms of traveling, you don't need to be local. Leighton Buzzard and Milton Keynes, you could come from abroad. It doesn't matter. You can join us from anywhere. You can be Go Football Academy player or a non-Go Football Academy member. But tickets are limited. 2 days left of early bird. Hope to see you there. That's all. I don't think there's any more questions. So I'll wrap up there. Enjoy the rest of the week and I'll see you next time.